So on this channel, we talk a little bit about, you know, the different aspects that go into human sexuals. You know what I'm saying? We do. We go into it. And I think we have pretty base takes around here. You know what I mean? We're very pro-education. We're pro-consent. And those are kind of the only two things you need. That's really it. I don't really have any other standards for you besides getting educated about, you know, your different sexual healths and your ability to understand consent and the way that system operates socially. You know what I mean? Seems good, right? Now, one thing that we haven't been able to talk about a lot because it hasn't come up that much recently started in the news because of a Billie Eilish interview. Billie Eilish, a supremely talented young lady, very good singer, that was talking about the effects of online. I'm trying not to get demonetized on YouTube for this. How do we say the word for what you find on like Xtube? Corn. Let's call it corn. Great job. Great job, chat. Billie Eilish said that corn destroyed her brain. Very adult entertainment. Yes. Adult corn destroyed her brain. She mentioned a couple things. Most of what she said, in my opinion, seemed to be about like the way that we understand our bodies and how they ought to look. But let's go into the actual thing. This is Michael Knowles, who is well known for not fucking. I mean, that's definitely true. He once responded to me on Twitter about something, and it was, I don't remember what it was because it wasn't memorable. It was just like the weakest sort of like baby boy response. I wish I could remember it. I could probably look this up on Twitter, but I don't want to. I just want to do the video. But interactions with Michael Knowles are underwhelming, to say the least. You can see his personality here. I don't know if you can see that on this screen, so I'll computer enhance. Leftist tears mug. The man's caught in like 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like 5 years ago is when things become contemporary to him. Michael Knowles looks like Michael Corleone with a more fucked up face. Does he?
You're seeing a strange leaning into a kind of conservatism coming from pop music. You're seeing
this isn't true.
It come from
it really isn't.
Someone named Billie Eilish. Now, I'm no expert on Billie Eilish. Okay, I've never listened to a Billie Eilish tune. I wouldn't really be able to pick her out of a lineup. But Billie Eilish has just come out and made a very conservative point.
He's just lying.
She's come out against porn.
As a woman, I think porn is a disgrace, and I used to watch a lot of porn, to be honest. I started watching porn when I was like 11.
Wow.
And, you know, I didn't understand why it was a bad thing. I thought that's how you learned how to have sex. And I used to be like the person that would like talk about porn.
Let's talk about that first. Let's talk about that first. That's a problem. Right? Well, parents failed you. I don't know about that. I don't think it's about the parents. I really don't think parents are obligated to do that because of the way, like, I don't think it's on the parents at home specifically to do sex education. I do think it'd be obviously very good to do and would encourage it at every point, but it needs to be part of education in general, a formal education in high school. And we've talked about this before. The way that you could teach sexual education in America could be done from the earliest ages without ever having anything to do with sex. And that is simply to teach consent. The ideas of consent. Not necessarily sexual consent, right? That comes later when, you know, their hormones start going crazy. Well, let's get to the consent first, but Can we stop pretending that teenagers don't want to fuck each other? We were teenagers, guys. We were there. We remember. Some of you might be them. You're wanting to fuck, probably, unless you're ace, which is valid. But, like, if you're ace, you're hyper aware of how much people want to fuck each other, aren't you? So, to acknowledge that we are sexual creatures is to our benefit. But, yeah, the idea that Billie Eilish, and just people in general, I know that she's the reason we're here for this video, but, you know, in general, I think a lot of people learned about sex from porn because the sex education in the community was just so poor. You know what I'm saying? If you just taught consent from an early age, just like, may I hug you? Like, hey, can I have a high five? Can I share something with you? Like, oh, can I, enter your space, if that were, just different ways to teach consent. There was a video that went around a while back that was really great, that went around on TikTok by a teacher that actually died of COVID in the early days of it, before the vaccine. Really sad, really great teacher. There was this video of a bunch of kids that were learning consent in that classroom specifically just because the teacher was cool and based. And it was basically, as they walked out of class, they got to choose how they interacted cheerfully with one of the students. And I'm assuming the students, like, rose their hands and the teacher would pick one of them, or whoever got the most points in the day or some shit. I don't know how it worked. It seemed like a reward system for one of the kids to be in charge of, like, doling out at the end of class high fives, fist bumps, and hugs. That's dope. And basically there was a poster. A kid would walk out of class, slap the picture of whatever they want to do. There was a picture of a high five, a picture of a hug, and a picture of a fist bump. They slapped the picture on the wall, and then the kid that was there would give them one of those things, right? And then one of the last kids, who was probably friends with this kid, goes boop, 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 and gets all three. So they high five, they fist bump, and they hug. And it was just really cute, you know what I mean? And one of the kids opted out, said, I don't want any, and the other kid was like, okay, have a good day. And that was fine. That's consent. That's the good shit, right? When people think, what videos are real? Porn? Porn videos? Some people think they're real because they have no context for actual sexuality. And granted, like, let's be real. We've done some stuff that's in porn, chat. At least I have. Okay? Not everything, but a lot of it. Okay? A lot of it's achievable. but it depends on what kind of porn you watch. However, I agree in part with the at least this part. Like, I thought this is how sex works. We're gonna listen to the rest of this.
The time I'd be like, oh, it's so stupid that anybody would think that porn is bad or f***ed up, or, I think it's so cool and it's great and it's
What kind of
empowering.
porn were you watching?
I was an advocate, and I, thought I was one of the guys and would talk about it and think it was really cool for not having a problem with it and not seeing why it was bad. And, I think it really destroyed my brain, and I feel incredibly devastated that I was exposed to so much porn.
Okay, so this goes on to talk about, and I knew they were going to cut it around here. Actually, when I've heard what I have heard from Billie Eilish, on the surface, when they cut it like this, that sounds bad, right? But she goes on to talk about how it affected her own idea of how her body should look, and like the standards by which they do that, and not to mention how porn specifically in America, I mean all over the world, but like how porn, until really, really recently, and even still it happens a ton, is basically about one thing, and that is service to the male in the situation. And very obviously incredibly male gazy. Like, yeah, there's lots of those problems in porn. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's some space for that, right? I think some people are attracted to that, and that's fine. I'm 100% fine with that. When there's consent involved, cool with it. I'm comfortable with C&C. I'm comfortable with all, like, any variation of consent-driven porn, obviously, right? Like if that's what you want to do. However, there's tons of systemic problems with it, not to mention the way that manufactured consent works under capitalism, and like there's just so many problems with it. But she goes on to talk about, and her point here is there's an ethical concern within the industry of porn, not necessarily just watching it, but also watching it. There are detriments to watching porn when you don't have an education on the other side of that. And that is At least what she brings up, one of the problems that bothers her is her body issues. She looks at what a porn star looks like. And a porn star, especially when we were growing up, and I know Billie Eilish is like 10 years younger than me, but even back then, there was a specific kind of like archetype that you kind of fit into, and it often had big titties, right? And there was often like the hourglass blonde, very, very similar. Now, this is kind of changing over time as people get a little more eclectic and stuff, but it's still kind of that very, very thin people. And labiaplasty is one of the, and she brings up like, oh, my vagina, that's not how real vaginas look. And some people are like, what do you mean? What kind of porn do you watch? And it's like, well, at the time, like if you're talking 11 years old, I think she's in her early 20s. So you're talking 2011. Let's call it 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. Yeah, dude. Do you not realize they were like fully shaved, like they bleached their assholes sometimes during this era? Like labiaplasty was super popular, so you had like just slits, which I'm a man, okay? All right, I am a man who fucks. Some people have that naturally, and it's totally fine. It's not a big deal. I don't really care how it looks. But it's not a bad look if it doesn't look like that, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. Similar with dicks. Some dudes have dick problems because they say, oh, I'm not a porn star, because you're not a porn star. You got a normal dick probably, right? A normal dick that doesn't look like a porn star's dick. So a lot of dudes have dick problems. And I mean, obviously, it gets even weirder when you start talking about non-cis people. I don't even know like how that manifests in your body image issues and how, like, I'm sure it does in some ways. Like, my pussy look like a dick. Well, there you go. You got a good one. So yeah, there's lots of issues. So I don't really take umbrage with what she said in context. But like, as far as the porn is evil thing, shut up. Shut the fuck up. You know what? 2 inches of hard dick. I will say for porn though, I think porn in general, which is not a thing I use very often. I never really, I like, you go through your teenage years where you're like, ooh, I'm going to masturbate or something. But for me, it doesn't really do it that much. I take a little bit of work to have like a good experience. You know what I mean? Not always, but a little bit. And masturbating for me is just sort of like a biological, like we just got to pump her out there. We gotta change the oil, as they say. You know what I mean? It's more of a maintenance thing. And I think a lot of people that have ding dongs and masturbate can tell you, like, at some point it's not really, it's more of like a maintenance thing, and sometimes you just do it for the serotonin burst for just a second, but like other than that, it's not like a big deal. You know what I mean? But I do think a way to explore your sexuality in a safe place is definitely porn. I think there's lots of things that we are attracted to or have kinks for that are, it's hard to like really understand what you like until you see it and you go, fuck, that's hot, right? And I think that's actually a good thing. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think sexuality is something that we should be a little bit more...
Vaginas are varied and dicks are varied. It's okay no matter what you have. Be comfortable with yourself and everything else falls in place.
Thank you, Electro Retro, for the $10 dues. And the Australian man always startles me for some reason. Post-nut clarity is my drug of choice. I mean, that's a real thing, by the way. Post-nut clarity. Yeah, I think people do get repressed sexually, and they have some weird hang-ups, and it makes them say weird things. It makes them think weird things. Now, I did hear that maybe there was some sort of like slut-shaming things going on in the extended interview. I haven't listened to it, so maybe that's it. But I will say most people that have these takes are usually just, they didn't have the education that came with it. And usually if they're open to it, and Billie does seem open to it, I feel like in 5 years she'd look back on this interview and be like, yeah, I disagree with this. You know what I mean? And I think, look, hey, we're all lefties. Here's a problem we have. Purity. Guys, we don't always have to be outraged about stuff. Sometimes it's warranted. Oftentimes it's warranted if right-wingers do it. But like the libs, sometimes we just lay off the libs a little bit, for whatever they're doing wrong. And like if someone's not super understanding of sexuality, which is one of the biggest topics where people kind of just fucking lose their shit. You know what I mean? Well, racists are different, okay? Racists you get to be outraged about. We're not talking about racists. Yeah, she wore baggy clothes to hide her body. Exactly. Like people are fucking super weird about her body because she's yeah. Capitalism outrages me. Well, yeah, these are different things, though. You know what I mean? But yeah. Give people a little bit of latitude to learn. Try not to be angry right away. Not everybody's malignant, you know? A lot of people are just accidentally just don't know stuff. And that's fine. You were like that, too, at some point. We don't come out the womb knowing shit.
Am I listening to the Howard Stern Show or the Mailbag? On this show, where a lot of young people, mostly men, but occasionally sometimes women, write in and make the same exact point that Billie Eilish is making.
Established Titles is your opportunity to earn the title of Lord or Lady in Scotland. Just like me, your humble host, Lord Michael Knowles.
Is this actually happening? Okay. I kind of thought he was doing a bit for a second, but no, it's an ad for that. Okay, we're going to move on. Thanks, Krish.
A unique plot number with which you can see the exact location of your land or loved one of a lady. You can get this on your credit card. Knowles is currently having a massive for 10% today.
Wow, that was just something.
Retrograde activist Billie Eilish is coming out against porn. Is she? No, she's not. She's not a Bible thumper or a reactionary or retrograde or any of these things. She's about as pop, mainstream, lib as it gets. And
you know what's wild to me? People that watch this for entertainment. Like not to laugh at, but to agree with. You know what I mean? Like, holy fucking shit. What a dry, multi-hold, crisp piece of wheat.
And she's saying that she feels that porn destroyed her brain because she, like so many people who are in Gen Z, and millennials to a lesser degree, millennials were exposed to porn at a pretty early age too, but less so than Gen Z, where basically they're just saturated in it from the moment they're born. She says that being exposed to this at a young age and getting addicted to it is destroying her brain. People write into my mailbag all the time, as you have heard, on this topic. And they say, I know that I'm supposed to be cool and hip and we're all supposed to be fine with porn and actually pro-porn, but I think it's bad. And maybe we've got to do something about this problem.
Mailbag. Young children are sending him handwritten letters in the mail. That's true, actually. Swifty, thanks for giving one to Nixon Plumber as well, dude. Appreciate it. I don't know what it is about conservatives lately. They're just trying to play the hits real quick before they die. You know what I mean? Like, their movements are dying out. COVID is slowly killing the old ones. They lost Trump. You know what I mean? They keep trying to play like, oh, we're gonna do Roe v. Wade. Oh, now we don't like the gays again. Oh, we're gonna gun violence is good actually. You know what? Actually, maybe segregation's a good thing. Porn is bad. Like what? Why are they? What is this shit? It is the death throes. It really is. They have the Supreme Court. Kind of. It's just wild shit, man. Yeah. I mean, the Supreme Court being stacked like that is a bad thing, but I mean, obviously. I'm going to be honest. That judge, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, why didn't she fucking quit when Obama was around? Fuck is that? Like, just absolutely ridiculous. She really should have known. Hubris. Fed minority rule since Reagan. Oh, yeah. But it won't be for long, chat. I do have good news. The number one winner in all of everything is time. And people moving more progressive over that time.
They're recognizing this because it is true. And they're recognizing that while the way that the porn industry...
No, I don't think it's porn in general. I think it's our relationship with porn and the lack of education, right? And I don't think our time with porn is like that bad, right? Because that particular generation, Gen Z, is the first generation to deal with that. But then they're going to be the ones that have the experience with that and be like, yeah, hey, kids, maybe chill on the porn. And then the kids chill on the porn a little bit, and then it just equalizes. Because we have more cultural awareness of these kinds of things. That's all it is. You can have your little moment where you go, porn is bad, let's ban it. And then, like, but why? What about free speech, bro? Why can't I freely fat?
Industry and the sexual revolutionaries sold porn is that it's a way to increase your freedom. Don't let those old constraints and those old nasty preacher men tell you what to do, man. You know, just
Redeems chill on the porn for 3,000 channel points.
True. To watch women be degraded.
Well, okay, hold on. As far as women being degraded, okay? I mean, if you're into it, I'm into it. But, like, also, you know, that's with consent. You know what I'm saying? Some people like being degraded, and that's fine. And it's just goddamn okay, dude. Some people don't like it. Like, I don't like being degraded. People who will remain nameless do. Nameless. Totally nameless. She'll be editing this later. But still. And she's not the only one. But there's just like, come on. Can we just understand that people are into certain things sexually, and then also understand that, like, there will be some issues when you don't educate people when things happen. Just educate people about sex and sexuality and consent, and we'll be fine. Literally, that's all we have to do. Porn will still be a thing. Maybe 11-year-olds will still look at porn. But guess what 11-year-olds want to do? Look up porn. Now, they don't know why they want to look up porn necessarily. Maybe some early blooming 11-year-olds. But let's be real. Around 11, you start hearing about shit from your slightly older friends. You're like, what the fuck? Because they're right before the sexual ages of like 12, 13, 14, 15. Ooh. You have an older sibling or something. Your dad probably watches porn. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, your mom might too at this point. Hell yeah. At 11, I was blooming. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, look, I didn't know what I was doing with my ding-dong, but I was definitely banging that thing around. I was smashing it all over the place. Didn't know what it was for. 11, 12, somewhere in there. Come on. We just understand that we were that. We were those kids that were fucking touching ourselves. Why are we aghast when children now are also doing that? It's like, just because I don't want to fuck the kid doesn't mean the kid doesn't want to fuck another kid. They're kids. That's what they do. When I was a kid, we fucked other kids. We were kids. It's the only people that we were allowed to. Like, come on. Hopefully, that's all you guys had interactions with. I know that's not the case, but your own body. Yeah, it's your fucking thing, man. When you were 13, you were fucking 13-year-olds as well, or somewhere in that range. You know what I'm saying? Or your brother has a swimsuit calendar, or your mom very awkwardly buys you a hot lady poster to push heterosexuality at you. It took, okay? It worked. Don't get me wrong. She was a very good-looking woman of Pacific Island descent, I believe. And then she also got me a poster. I don't think she knew this. I didn't know this until much later. When I was like 13, my mom got me a Jenna Jameson poster, who was a porn star in the 90s, but she didn't know. But I didn't know either because it was a clothed picture. But she got me one. And I was like, that's weird as fuck. And I was like, I guess we'll put it on there. I'll need to bring this up to her. That was such a weird gift. What a weird thing. Your mom's the best mom? I didn't ask for this. Thanks, Cherry Quill, for the prime. I don't recall asking for hot lady posters. Maybe I did. Best mom ever. Dude, I really don't remember asking for these things, but I remember those posters. Not vividly, but enough. You know? Enough. Call her now? No, she's sleeping. Yeah, she's 100% sleeping. She works in the morning. I would, but she's asleep. She'd love me to call her and talk to her about that. Swifty, thanks everyone to Uncle Dirty.
That's how it was sold, and virtually everybody in the culture at some point has given into this temptation or even believed that lie outright. But it turns out it's not true. It doesn't make you free. It actually enslaves you. It gets you addicted to things, and it warps your brain. And Billie Eilish was talking about how she got really addicted to this particularly violent kind of porn, and it messed up her relationships, and it actually does change your brain chemistry. So there are actually physical effects of this as well, and obviously extremely corrosive psychological
violent porn,
and spiritual effects.
Hey, look, again, if you're into it, you're into it. If you're not into it, that's also valid. We're talking about violence. I believe, well, they cut it here. Corrosive and spiritual. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck off. Jake interviews his mom stream when? I mean, she would like it. Not addicted to porn, but it can happen. Of course it can happen. No, I don't think anyone reasonably would say, yeah, of course, you can't get addicted to porn. But, like, I don't think porn addiction is as big a deal as the lack of education around sex. Because I think that the one leads into the other, right? I think the lack of education causes people to lean on porn rather than engage in the social activity of sexual interaction, right? Like, it seems pretty obvious to me that those lead into... Because as a person who does have a sexual education... And granted, I learned a lot from porn early and then decided, thankfully, it wasn't me being wise or anything. It was just me, it was more insecurity, right? I looked up, and this is true, by the way. Swifty, thanks for giving one to Melanie. And to this day, I love the activity. It's an American pastime for me. It's like my baseball. I learned how to eat the box on purpose with diagrams. Not like in porn, though. I was like, where's the clitoris? Okay? How do you do this? I Googled, and I read articles on it because, I just didn't want to be bad. That was it. That was the whole thing. I didn't ask my parents anything. You know what I mean? The what? What do you mean, the what? I looked up how to eat pussy on the internet. That's the what. And I figured it out. And guess what happened? I ate some pussy. And I'll do it again. Maybe today. Who fucking knows, dude? As a person with a vagina, we appreciate you. Dude, so I'm a teenager, and I'm hearing people that are not, like, I have friends that are girls, and like, yeah, no, these dudes aren't good in bed. And I'm like, what the why? I thought you just had to fucking hammer it in. Maybe they're coming too soon is what I thought. Oh, it's simply that they don't last long enough. It's got to be long and protracted sex is the way. It's not the way, chat. Use your mouth. I mean, sometimes you use just your dick, but toys and mouth and stuff. Come on. I'm not built for pleasuring the ladies, okay? I'm not built for it. Dicks are easier to please. I'm not gay or bi or pan or anything. It just turns out I'm a straight, boring guy. Except to the ladies. Not boring at all. Ashmar, thanks for the 9 months. Appreciate that. We're about to start a hype train in the middle of my rant. How dare you?
And it seems to me the only people who don't get it are the squishy right-wingers. The hard left understands what this stuff does, porn and drugs and this culture of licentiousness. They know what it does, and they are wielding it, actively wielding it, to compromise your freedom and change the culture. They write about
compromise your freedom?
About this in my book, Speechless, which makes a great Christmas present, by the way. #1 national bestseller, great gift to give to your friends or family. So the hard left.
All right, chat. He just pimped his stuff. Let me take this opportunity to pimp my stuff, okay? Look at that right there. Look at that. That's a hype train that just happened. Chop them on. Communicate with your partners is the best way to please them. Don't be afraid to look stuff up. Absolutely. Agreed. Electro Retro, does someone say hype train? Also eating poo. To be a leftist, eat the box. That's true. That's true. Unless you're ace or you are not attracted to people with boxes, then don't worry about it. Not on your back. Hard left. Anyway, thanks for the hype train. I will take this opportunity. Thank you, Michael Knowles, for that video about porn. That is the end of that. And that is the end of this prospective YouTube video as well.